Hey everyone, this is Caroline. Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk to you about vibration. Yes, it's an old topic. Everybody knows about vibration by now. But what I want to talk to you about is how to change your vibration in a very quick and specific way. So, a lot of you who have been to my channel and have done my work and know about connecting to source, the meditation that I've created. But I want to go back to the way I created it and why I created it this way and what it actually does, especially for those who are new here. I want to remind everyone and tell the folks who have not heard this story that my very first experience with energy and consciousness and all that good stuff started at a very young age. I was 5 years old, and then all of a sudden I came in contact with these beings. They just kind of showed up out of nowhere, and it was a massive amount of light. They just happened to be there out of nowhere. And so we had a spontaneous kind of communication. They were kind of talking to me. The energy, speaking of vibration, the energy was so incredible. It was like coming home. It was like, wow, this feels so amazing. Unconditional love, very comforting, very familiar. And so, because of that, even as a child, it didn't scare me or anything. It was more like, oh, I know that vibration. I know this. This is who I really am. And so, so I stayed with it, obviously, and it started to kind of manifest through me. It's kind of like there was this energy there, but we were connected. And then I could see that vibration was the same. There was kind of a vibrational match. What was outside of me was also inside of me. And because of that, what I realized that we could communicate. There was kind of no separation, but also a kind of, I was them and they were me. So it was that sort of strange thing. And because of that, I realized that if you are fully merged with this specific vibration, then you're not trying to figure out what that is, because it's already you, it's in you. And so in that moment, I understood who they were, what they were doing, their connection to me, what the message was, what they were saying, all of that literally in that instant. Because again, the information was in my cells now. And so of course, I tell the story, what they said, and in another video. But basically, they were, it was my lineage, it was where I came from, and things like that. But it was later that I realized, wait a minute, I could see these beings very clearly, and I could hear them, I could sense them, I could understand them, but the people around me didn't. So how does that work? How is that possible that my brain did that? Of course, in another video, I talk about discernment to make sure I wasn't crazy, I didn't make it up. So anyway, that's not the topic right now, because I did eventually have a lot of validation. But the point being, I wanted to figure out the mechanics. Like, how is that possible that all of a sudden I'm looking around the room and there's these people and everything else, and all of a sudden there was these other beings that are not non-physical. And so because I wanted to recreate it on purpose, I wanted to say, can I do this again when I want to, and not just spontaneously. And so what happened, of course, I got into the field of consciousness and energy medicine for like 20 years. And that's how I realized that I needed to figure out the exact mechanics. And of course, I'm fast forwarding now after all this time. I realized that in that moment, my brain channels, I call them channels because our brains are connected, are kind of plugged into specific frequencies. One specific frequency is the planetary frequencies. There's a planetary grid. Basically, it's a range, a spectrum of frequencies, and one part of your brain is connected to that, so that we are on this planet and we are speaking to each other, we understand each other because we are within that same spectrum of frequencies, we're on the same vibrational spectrum. And so, but then you also have two other channels. So the other one channel is plugged into galactic spectrum, galactic frequencies, and then yet another channel is plugged into universal frequencies. So it's kind of like on a radio, you have AM, FM, megahertz, kilohertz, whatever. So we have these three, and what happens is that, because of course nobody teaches us any of that stuff, and our mind is all over the place, and we're mind chatters and blah blah blah. So our brains are pointing in different directions. If I am wherever you focus is, you are picking up that vibration. That makes sense. And so if I'm focused on, oh my God, I have this job tomorrow or whatever, I'm focused, my brain channels are pointed there. And so when I'm focused on who am I, what planet did I come from, what part of the universe am I from, whatever, my channels are plugged in there. So the idea is to have the three channels perfectly pointed. If all of them are pointed to the planetary spectrum, then we are not really being fully aligned with our original consciousness, because our original consciousness is plugged into the universal spectrum. And so it's almost like we're pouring all our frequency in our mind channels into just this one, AM channels, let's say, on the radio. And so when we do that all the time, our brain gets programmed to always go to these frequencies, and we try to resolve problems from those frequencies. We try to get guidance, from these frequencies. So you see what happens after years and years and years. The brain gets used to being stuck in this one range of frequencies, when in fact, you are supposed to be, like I said, plugged into these three simultaneously, these three channels. And so when you do that, it's almost like your original state of being aligns with this part of you, because those frequencies, the universal frequencies, are the ones that have your whole story. It's kind of like your original universal aspect knows who you are, what you're doing here. And it's sending you information through these channels, you see, through the brain channels. But if those channels aren't pointing there, they aren't plugged in, you're not paying attention, you're not hearing, you're not getting the messages. Or if you are, every now and there, bits and pieces, the message is garbled, doesn't make sense, because you don't know how to perfectly align these three channels. And so, a side note, for example, autistic children, I notice, of course, I'm generalizing here, but a lot of autistic children, their brains are plugged into galactic circuitry. And so that's the reason why they have a hard time communicating here. Of course, again, there's different types of autism, but some of them, the ones who cannot communicate or don't want to communicate, or find the vibration, sometimes they can't tolerate sound, or they can't tolerate, it's because it's a very annoying frequency. The planetary frequency is very annoying to them because they're plugged into a much higher range. So and then we try to tell them, communicate here. So we try to force these brain channels to be plugged in this way or that way. And so that's the reason why I see that all the time. And the idea is not to force them to plug into only the planetary, but to open up the planetary alongside the galactic and the universal, so that you have those three pathways of communication perfectly aligned. Kind of a Russian doll. The small doll is the planetary, then you have the galactic, then you have the universal. And when they're in perfect alignment, the information that the big doll has, gets kind of filtered down. I mean, it's perfectly aligned. So all the dolls are getting the same information instantaneously, faster than the speed of light. So you see, when that first experience happened, my brain channels got plugged into specifically in that way. And when that happens also, because your brain is vibrating differently, and it's the brain, so it's the hub of the entire body. So your cells start to vibrate also at a different rate. Your cells go from, the normal 250, 400 hertz, what have you, to a range between 734 hertz to 1000 hertz in that moment, in that instant. And so those two things, aligning the brain channels and then right away shifting into that cellular vibrational range, spontaneously allows you to literally shift from the physical you to the real you, some people call the higher self, but the higher self again is one spectrum of one range of frequencies. When you are there, then you are tapped into, or you are perfectly aligned or open to your galactic self and your universal self. And so all the information that you want from up there comes down instantaneously. That's the reason why this is so important. It's not so as complicated as we think. It's a matter of knowing what and how and doing it. It's kind of like an exercise that you've never done. If you want to train a muscle, you just have to do it. And so that's the reason why. And so when you are aligned with your universal original self, then if you are asking for healing, if you're asking for information, if you're asking for guidance, why is this happening? Why am I creating the wrong way? Why is blah, blah, blah? You are bypassing your subconscious mind that is, feeding you all the fears and all the mind chatter, and you are plugging yourself directly into those frequencies in this specific way. So, of course, having discovered this, because I can see the subtle energy very clearly, I can see where you are plugged in, how I was plugged in. That's how I figured this out. So I trained myself, to discern, where am I plugged in now? Where am I plugged in now? How does that feel? What's the difference? Blah, 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 So after a long time of research and discernment, I created this meditation, super, super simple. It's called Connecting to Source. And so it's free of charge, by the way. It's on my YouTube right here, but also on the website. And I made it used to be very long and complicated. Now it's super, super simple. It's only 7 minutes long. And if you just go through it with the vibration of my voice and the energy that's coming through, then you will sense that spontaneous alignment, and you will feel it. If even you don't have to be super, super sensitive to experience it. And then from this alignment, if you do it all the time, every day, after a while, your brain gets recognized, it gets retrained. Oh, I know how to get there. Then eventually in a split second, you can just be there. And so before you ask for healing, before you ask for guidance, before you ask for whatever, or, anything, because as you are asking, if you have not cleared the subconscious fears, why am I stuck in this job that I hate? Why am I not attracting money? Why am I sick all the time, or whatever? You cannot retrieve the information from, again, we know this quote, from the place where it was created, haha, so we know this. So that's why you have to start all your asking from that place of perfect alignment, so that the information comes through from bypasses your human mind and your human subconscious mind, and comes directly from your original self, up at the source. So that's why it's called connecting to source. Not all meditations are equal. Do the same thing. Many people say, oh, I already meditate. Every meditation does a different thing. There is no right or wrong or good or bad. I see meditations, that just calm you, that maybe center you. So that's that. There are other meditations that make you feel more expanded. That's that. This is a specific meditation that aligns you, like I said, aligns you with your original self. You don't have to know where you came from, what part of the universe, what planet. Your higher self knows, your higher conscious knows. All you have to do is intend for that to happen. Do it over 7 minutes long, no excuse. You can do that. Try it. You do it a few times. I recommend, for those who have not done it, and even those who have done it, just retrain yourself. It's nice to take a refresher. Do it non-stop every single day for at least 15 to 21 days. I would say 21 days, because then you're retraining the engine. You're training your brain, boom, go back this way. And then you start to feel that vibration, your cellular vibration as well. You are programming yourself to be in this perfect alignment to manifest what you want. Okay? I hope this was helpful. Connecting to source right here on, don't forget to subscribe, but also right here on the YouTube channel, and also on my website, carolinecory.com. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.